and gentlemen, welcome back to the Death, Taxes, and Bananas podcast. But it's almost like, kind of like welcome to the podcast for the first time. Mm-hmm. Because this episode that we're about to record here has a very extra added significance and importance because it is not only the kickoff episode to the Challenge Season 40 Battle of the Eras, but it is also the first ever episode that will be fully broadcast in video in its entirety on the Ringer Reality TV YouTube channel. So I've finally answered all of your prayers. I get DMs every time. When can I watch the full video? In my comments, I'm like, guys, I've done over 100 episodes. I've been doing this for well over a year, and people are still asking where they can find the full video. So you can find it, like I said, on Ringer Reality TV YouTube. Yeah. So you're welcome. This also is kind of a weird situation for me because this is the first, usually when I do my podcast, like I have a table in front of me. So you can only see me from the chest up. You can't see me from the waist down.
You normally have like boxers on at your house?
I'm just usually free balling it. Just usually,
one wrong move.
That's why I can never stand up. Once I start recording, I'm like, all right, I'm stuck sitting here for the
And that's
whole
why they usually can't see the video. Yeah. It makes sense.
So, again, and since this is video, since my guests are going to be on camera the entire time, I wanted to make sure that I invited a very, very attractive guest that the fans are going to be like, damn, they look good in person. But Wes was not available. Unfortunately, Wes was not available.
Had to settle for second best.
So I brought arguably the hottest couple. All right. A couple whose faces were definitely not made for podcast, the audio version. I mean, dude, the challenge couple, America's couple, Horacio and Nurys, welcome to the Death, Taxes, and Bananas podcast.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us on. I actually feel really honored to be the first one for your first live podcast. I'm like, yes, you did it right.
I felt like it was the only way for me to make amends for what I said about you guys being a junior high bar fest.
Yep.
Just wanted to get that out of the way off the top.
Yeah, he said middle school
junior
vomit
high.
fest. Junior high vomit fest. I was like, okay.
I mean, I don't know. You know how it is. You get in the interview room. You want to say something
I don't
funny.
want to think about it, but maybe it was jealousy, Bananas.
It was.
Just a little bit.
I am so jealous, Nurys, that you finally locked this guy down.
I know, right?
Yes, because we were all jockeying for a position, me included. And you know what? I don't like doing this because I like to check back in, especially if we're going to be talking about this show, to the mindset you were in then. We're obviously in a much different place now, I'd like to think. But you know, you get a little spicy sometimes.
Oh, don't worry. I talked my shit about you on my interviews,
I bet you did.
And they did not show it. So
well, we still have another episode.
Snap.
We still have episode 2.
Definitely was a little spicy about you.
I'm just glad you didn't roast me on Twitter. That was the other reason I wanted to get you in here. I was like, all right, let me nip this thing in the bud because Nurys goes ham on Twitter, and I don't need to get so roasted.
And you know what's funny? I definitely was. When I watched the episode, I said, I was gonna show you first, and then I was gonna tweet it. But it's okay. I'll spare you now.
Nurys does not hold back on Twitter. Neither does Horacio.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm super big on Twitter, and I got MySpace now. So
am I in your top 8?
Top 2.
Yes.
It's Tom and then it's you.
My man. All right. Cool. I'll add you on Grindr.
Grindr.
Yeah. I'll swipe right when I find you.
That's not a dating app. You can be on, baby.
So Nurys, you were saying before, you are now hosting a dating show?
Yes, I am actually co-producing and hosting a dating show. We call it Hot Dates. And it's funny because when we went to go film Hot Ones, a little spinoff that we did in New York, I was super emotional about it, low key, without telling anybody, because my idea kind of came from that. So the dating show, I have them eating spicy food while also dating and getting to know each other. And as the food gets spicier, the questions get spicier that they have to ask each other. So it's been really good. It's been hard to cast people because people are not
Banana Man.
Right?
Listen, you need a ringer. You need a dead ringer to come in.
That would be great, actually. Right. I'll find you someone hot, someone worthy. I got you. Right. I definitely could can do that. So yeah, it's been a fun journey. It's been different, but it's been so hard because I had to get out of my own comfort zone. And like being myself is easy, but getting a script and being like, you have to learn these lines is not me. So that's been kind of hard, but it's been fun to like branch out.
I'm the same way. When I hosted a travel show for a while, they would hand me a list of questions, and I literally would not look at them until 5 minutes before I went.
That's literally me.
But I've always felt like it's better that way because when I'm reading from a script, even if it's or not reading from a script, but if it's a script that's memorized, everything that comes out of my mouth sounds canned. Like it sounds like it was like you're reading lines.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always found that it's like you should use that as like a guideline of like, you know, like a roadmap, but you don't want to do it verbatim because then the interview sounds robotic.
That's exactly how I felt.
And I think the most important thing that I learned about interviewing is like, yes, ask the question, but then after that question, whatever their answer is, you find a follow-up question based on whatever they said. You don't just go back to the paper.
Yep. Smart.
And you've probably seen this when we did press in New York last week. You've done press for other shows. You can tell the interviewers that are like actually fans of the show.
Yep.
That are like invested in what they're talking about. And then the ones that are like,
just reading off every question that they have in front of them.
What's your favorite color? You answer, where did you grow up? And it's like, all right.
Yeah, like, how do you not know all this stuff already? Yeah. Like, if you're a fan, you would know already.
What the hell? So, Horacio, what are you up to these days, man? You're just still being handsome?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just...
Tough job.
It's tough. No, I mean, I just moved to Austin.
Okay.
So I'm in the works of trying to get a house. I'm currently living with a friend right now.
Keeping it weird.
But... It's been fun. It's been fun. See what's next. I know in terms of what I do, just staying fit. I have a 100-mile race in November, so I'm going to run 100 miles in November. Then I have
what's wrong with you, dude?
a High Rocks event. I have a...
What's wrong with you? 100 miles? What, a marathon's not enough?
I skipped the marathon. I went straight to 100 miles, yeah.
Is this unbroken or 100 miles?
Yeah. Unbroken. So it's gonna be good. You should come out, man. Riverside.
No, I'm good.
Riverside.
Okay, I'll come out. I'm not gonna. I'll run like the first 2 miles with you.
That's what I said.
I need
or
a pacer.
Last 2.
I need a pacer for the last like 10 miles.
Can I drive like a golf cart or something?
Just beside him, like, let's go, Horacio. You got it.
Can I bring my rollerblades? I'm a big blader.
I am too. No. I got my own blades. I was like, I got my own blades. They're pink.
I actually do. I got them checked in the valet at the hotel. Yeah, they're
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
but dude, yeah. Mine are too. All right. So what? So you're training for the next challenge? Maybe not.
I wouldn't say the next challenge. Just training for life. I always
just training for life.
So
you're just gonna run 100 miles just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I just still looking to challenge myself and stuff, and it's not like I'm not getting paid for this stuff. I just like to do it because
for fun.
I don't even call it fun. It's just the pain that I enjoy.
So you're a masochist. You enjoy.
No. Because that's gonna be taken out.
I was gonna say, tell me more. Tell me more. What other type of pain do you like inflicted on you, Nurys?
I was like, oh, no wonder you like the whips and the hands.
Yeah.
Oh no, that is. We're not there yet. No, I think
he said yet.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Crawl before you walk. So
no, I just like that point where your body and it's like I can't continue, but your mind's like you can, you know. And I really like that feeling. So I've been chasing that for a while now, and I think it's gonna be good because that month of November is gonna be packed with a lot of mental and physical pain in terms of the 100 miles and a High Rocks, which is gonna
What's
be.
High Rocks?
High Rocks is just also another kind of event where you're running. You run like a kilometer, then you have some kind of you have a 1,000-meter ski erg. Then you have another kilometer, then you have 400 like pounds of sled push, and then you have another kilometer. So it's just little like stations. And it's just like high intensity, but with high weight. So
you know, I actually support this idea of you not coming back on the challenge. I think you should just take off forever.
He was like, "You just do too much."
Thanks, man. They always ask me, like, I'll always do interviews. They're like, "Dude, what keeps you around, man? Like, when do you get your 8th win?" I'm like, "Have you seen the mutants that I'm like competing against nowadays?" Like, I mean, again, you've got like Jordan that he's like you, just psychotic. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go and ride my bike for 17 hours with no music. I'm gonna go swim a mile in the ocean for fun." I'm like, what? Fun?
Yeah, no.
Dude, like you couldn't pay me. Well, I mean, you could, but it would take a lot to do something like that for fun.
How do you think how lazy I feel when he plans his life to be like, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna run 10 miles at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, Wake me up when you get back with food and coffee, please, because I'm not.
Do you know how
part of any
excited
of
I
that.
am when I'm on the treadmill for 3 miles?
Yeah, same.
I'm like, yo, I'm walking around like I ran a 5K. Just so you know, it's 3.2 miles. I was at about a 7.5 clip and 1% incline for 5 minutes. Walking around like I've accomplished
You're
something.
like, yeah, I did it.
I'll tell you what, though, she enjoys this stuff. Like I took her to her first Spartan race.
Yeah,
she
Spartan
actually
race is cool. So I could get down with the Spartan race, okay? 'Cause it's not like a crazy. I mean, they are depending on where you go, they are difficult, but I feel like they have like the little obstacles that kind of break up the run, like whatever. I just can't do the long. I just don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, like I said, I thought I was going to hate the Spartans, but I did my first, 5K, and that was like so much fun. So then I did the 10K, and I truly didn't think I was going to be able to finish it. And I was complaining the whole time we were driving there. I was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this. I was like, I'm going to quit. He takes off. As soon as we go, like, you don't even, after like 2 minutes, I no longer see him. He's not visible.
Mm-hmm.
And
sounds like a lot of times I've seen him on the challenge.
Yeah. And then
like Speedy Gonzalez, dude. It's like, where
seriously.
the fuck, you just see a puff of smoke and Horacio's gone.
And then I actually was impressed with myself because as I was like 5 minutes from the finish line, he like shows up because he thought I was probably at mile 2 or mile 3. So he was running back to come meet me, and I was only 5 minutes away from like the finish line, and he was like, he saw me and was like jaw dropped. He's like, wait, you're already almost done. I was like, yeah, I actually did this, and by myself, no music, no people around me. Like it was a good time. So now my next goal is to do their half marathon, so 13 miles of a Spartan race, and I want to do that before the end of the year so I can get my trifecta and say that I did it all in 2024.
Good
so
for you, man.
All
right. I mean, listen, you've already got the puzzle, obviously, aspect down of the challenge, which I think is something that you either got it or you don't.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, you start coming on, with the cardio dialed in and all that. Not that you already didn't have it. I mean, you're gonna be a force. Not that you're not already.
Thanks.
Well, I gotta say, I'm happy to see that the two of you guys have made it, because a lot of times the challenge couples, you know how they work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What makes sense on the challenge and what makes sense when you're in that house, and what makes sense when you have the exact same schedule every day, and that you're hanging out with the same people, you're going to bed at the same time, you're competing together. It really feels like, even if you're from two completely different worlds in the outside, when you're there, it's like, no, we're so compatible.
Yeah.
And
then the show's over and you're like, oh,
yeah.
About this compatibility thing.
I think that's probably why it somehow worked out, because we aren't compatible. I would say, like, we aren't like similar in anything. Like, we literally have like almost nothing in common. It's really crazy. Like, we have very slim things in common. So I think maybe that's why, like, we already struggled in the house trying to get it together, and then we got out here, we're like, wait, this is the same exact thing. It's not any harder. I think the hardest part was the distance. And even then, I feel like we honestly have spent at most 2 weeks tops, like, away from each other, except for when he was filming his show.
Yeah. Can I tell you something though? I've been in a few relationships in my life. The majority of them being like not live in, like kind of like long distance. And when I'm saying long distance, some were out of state, but some were just like, I'm in Orange County, LA, that sort of thing. Like, I feel like doing the long distance thing, or doing we're in a relationship, we're not going to be together every single day. It almost like extends like that honeymoon period and that spark for longer, because you miss the person.
Yeah.
You see them every day. You're kind of like, oh, fuck you again.
You're like, I'm tired of waking up next to you.
Yeah. But like, for me, it's like, I love when I was in relationships to have like the us time, but I also need me time.
Yes.
So I think that's, I honestly, I think it's healthy. I think if and when I ever do like get married and settle down, I think we have two different houses.
It's funny. I was thinking like the same thing. I was
down
like,
the street. I'm like, we could spend like, odd days together, or like maybe like we'll spend Monday through Thursday together, and then we'll have the weekends off.
That's like a job.
Like a job.
It's like a job.
If I ever get one of those, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. A marriage and a job. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree.
Pigs will fly straight out of Horacio's ass if that happens.
Literally.
I do like that though.
Yeah.
Because you do need your own time. She knows that. Me personally, I like to be alone.
Yeah.
I really do. So if I'm around somebody, it's because I truly want to be around you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, all right, so like when she says go run in the morning. Like that's my time, you
Yeah.
know, or even later at night if I just want to step out, walk, or whatever the case may be. You need that time.
Also, my social battery runs out pretty quickly. So, like, even with him or if I'm around other people, I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to go be by myself.
Yes.
Like, I just want to hang out alone. Like, let me just not be with anyone. Let me watch my shows. Let me be at peace. Let me play my games on my phone, like puzzles, whatever. But let me just have that by myself.
So yours runs out. Horacio's just always on empty.
I've gotten better, Bananas.
You have. You actually
it's crazy
have,
to think
dude.
about it, but I have gotten better.
You actually have, man. And that's what I think. Okay, this is what was kind of a surprise to me, obviously, because we did Ride or Dies together.
Yep.
The two of you, obviously, you know, we were all. I came in a little bit late, but you guys obviously had your own separate little, you know, showmance ships or whatever you want to call them. And it didn't seem like the two of. It didn't seem like, at least on Ride or Dies, there was like a connection, a chemistry, a spark between you guys. So that's why, like, when I heard about, you know, you guys getting together on season 39, I was like, oh, that's an interesting connection.
I think that probably we probably thought of those same exact thoughts too.
Like, what was different? So what, I mean, was there on Ride or Dies, was there like an attraction? Was there like a spark and you guys were just kind of like, you know what, we're both doing our own thing? Or was it like you came into Challenge 39 and you're like, well, everyone's fucking, so we have to too?
Oh,
that's what it seemed like.
I would say
neither.
I would say neither for both, actually. I don't think we had a spark on 38. Like, I think we had a very simple friendship. I mean, I definitely found him attractive because, I mean, look at him.
You might be the only one.
And I think you could say the same thing. Like, you definitely didn't have a connection with me, but I would say that found me attractive. But on 39, he actually was such a flirt with so many different women.
Oh no,
yes,
we're not gonna go this route.
He was such a flirt.
From afar, though.
No, he was flirting with everybody.
Thank you, Bananas. I just stare at them from afar.
You're such a liar.
When he said that on Ride or Dies, he was, I forget who you're talking to, but she's like, yeah, usually I just observe girls from far away, from like multiple. I'm like, Horacio, that's called a stalker.
No, he was flirting with everybody. And as we were just friends, but we were building, I feel like, a closer friendship because him and Kylan were the people I was going up to ask them for advice. And just like, I would find myself drawn to just keep finding him and Kylan throughout the season. And then he started making little flirty jokes to people and I felt myself getting jealous. And I was like, why am I jealous that he's flirting with these other girls and not me? And then I kind of had to take a step back and realize, I'm like, do you like him?
Yeah.
And I told Olivia and Zara, I was like, I think I like him. And I wasn't going to go for it because I was like, there's no way. He's not going to go for it. Do you know me and my personality and his personality? Yeah. And one day I was going to shoot my shot. I actually went around the house trying to find him and I couldn't find him. And I was asking the PAs, I was like, have you seen Horacio? Have you seen this man? I was going to shoot my shot and be like, do you want to cuddle? And
luckily I was away.
Horacio, you got, well, dude, yeah, you got to tell me what the secret is.
And Nayeli told him like, hey, by the way, like Nurys and Big T are looking for you. And he purposely didn't come back to the house and hid. So I didn't get to ask him to cuddle. He purposely hid from me. And I was like, yeah, I think I should take the hint.
No, that's what makes you want him more. It's human nature.
I was like, he does not want me.
But then once you kind of like got him in once you got him kind of locked down, then it's like, the flirting's got to stop. The only one you're allowed to flirt with from now on is me.
I think he naturally stopped, but also a lot of the girls that he was flirting with were slowly getting eliminated. So I was like, wow, this is perfect.
It was like a kiss of death.
Yeah, I was like, there was like all these girls. When I tell you, like all of them wanted him. So when me and him got together, you could feel the saltiness. Like even at one point, Berna came up to me and I walked into his room looking for him and she was like, hey, can I talk to you? I was like, yeah, sure. 2 cameras come in. I'm like, oh, great. What is this conversation about? And she's like, yeah, so just wanted to let you know that I realized like a lot of our problems that we have this season stemmed from me and my insecurity. And I was like, what are you insecure about? She's like, because I really like Horacio and it like bothers me to see you guys together.
Oh my God.
She's like,
I've never met her, but everything I've heard about her, this girl just seems miserable. She just seems like a miserable person to be around.
I will say,
like, how are you gonna call dibs on a guy that like? I mean, Horacio, were you into Berna?
No.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. How are you gonna call dibs on a guy that isn't even like that's not fair?
I don't even think she tried to call dibs. I think she just.
What I will say is like, she reached out to me through Instagram, and so we shared some messages, but I never thought it was anything flirty. She was just like, it'd be great to meet you. I'm like, yeah, it'd be great to share a season with you as well. But there was nothing more past that, and maybe she read it that way. And so when we walk into 39, I think she thought there was going to be something. And, I like Berna. She's cool. And yeah, she, everybody has some kind of issues like we all do. But once I kind of like let her know, like, no, I'm not into you that way.
Yeah.
That's when like she kind of like turned. And
do you feel like, Horacio, does this happen to you a lot? Do you feel like because this happens to me a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I'm just being myself. I'm just a nice guy. Like if I take a girl on a date, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'll get you an Uber pool home.
No, Uber pool.
Like, you know what? I'll take you out to McDonald's and let you pick any 5 items
There
off the
you
dollar
go.
menu.
They fall in love.
Yo, and I'm like, do most guys not treat girls? Because then they catch feelings, and I'm like, it wasn't like it wasn't meant to be that serious. But like even on like a smaller, just me, my personality and just my nature is, I like to call it playful, but I guess it is misconstrued as flirtatious.
Mm-hmm.
So does that happen to you a lot where you're just being you and you're just being a nice guy and then it's misconstrued or misinterpreted as you like being flirty?
100%. I think especially because I will say going into 39, I was more, I don't want to say I was loud, but I was more outgoing. I remember people like Michele would say, who put a quarter in Horacio because I was just being more loud and I was talking and I was, and it was just because I was more comfortable. I knew people from 38, so that made me feel better about everything. And so I was just being myself, and yes, I was being nice, like you said. So I never at one point was going up to the girls like, hey, you're beautiful. Like, nothing.
It's also part of the game, though. This is what people don't realize, is it's like, like you want to be liked, right? You want to, and I mean, this is, kind of the game that over the seasons I've kind of learned to, I wouldn't say perfect, because obviously there's holes in my game as well. But I feel like if you need girls on your side.
You do.
You do. You obviously want the guys, in your corner, but you also need the female vote. So it's like, if you can have them on your side, and if you could kind of like almost put this air out there, like, yo, it's a social game. I mean, I think it's like one level down from like politicking, right? Because we all know what politicking is. But it's like, you need to do that. You need to almost have that like flirtatious nature. You need to like kind of like keep everything. And kind of like you said, we have with like the Berna situation, the other girls. Once it's established that it's like, oh, these two are together, then it makes other things more difficult because now you have to take ownership of the person that you are now in a showmance with. So then that adds another wrinkle to
a whole nother,
I will say, can I throw in there that I did superlatives on 39. I went around and asked everybody questions, and he won biggest flirt. So people were like, oh, Horacio's so boring. I'm like, how did he win biggest flirt then? He was over here talking to every girl. Got the most votes.
But
how he got more votes out of Emmanuel, Callum, Olivia, I can't even think of everybody else. I was shocked. I was like, Horacio? And mind you, I'm the one asking everyone. I was like, who do you think the biggest flirt is? And they're like, Horacio. I was like, I'm looking at the girls, I was like,
But
really?
Once again, if you ask any of the girls, they would not say I was like, hey, like you and I was never like, I was just being nice.
That's exactly.
That's
Dude, nice guys finish last. Or in this situation first.
Yeah.
You got her so pressed, she started going around the house doing superlatives to make sure everyone called you the biggest flirts. And she goes, listen, I have receipts.
That you did this.
You are the biggest flirt.
yeah.
All right, so 39. Obviously, we're gonna get into that because there was some drama. But before we do, coming into season 40, I mean, for the two of you coming in, obviously as a couple, but individuals, who were you guys most excited to see, and why was it me?
I knew you were going to stress me out. I already knew that. I would say, I know you're not her biggest fan, but I would definitely say Cara was one of the people I was super excited to play alongside because I've always been a big fan of hers, and I was always a big fan of Laurel's too. I always say I have to give credit where credit's due, and I do see them and Tori as like the best female faces of the challenge, and so playing alongside the three of them, I was like, oh, this is dope. Also, obviously, I mean, everyone always says CT, but it was nice to see other people there that I like as a fan.
Yeah,
I was like, couldn't believe Mark came back. I was like, why? Like, you normally never see him on. I had met Aviv at a Challenge Mania, so when I finally saw her at the airport, I didn't know she was going to be there. I thought that was amazing because I never had like seen her play before. So little people like that, I would say.
Little people? What are you trying to say?
What are you saying?
She is little.
Aviv is vertically challenged.
I'm trying to think. Honestly, people like Tony and Amanda drama-wise because I know Tony speaks his mind and he does not give a shit. And I was like, Amanda either. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. You like obviously you want to see great competitors, but you want to see the people that bring drama and bring the TV aspect of it too, because you know Amanda's going to give it to anybody and everybody. And I was like, I'm excited. Even for myself, because I went into it thinking, I was like, she doesn't like me. So I was like, oh, we're going to bicker. This is going to be interesting. And we got there. We loved each other. I was like, okay, never mind. I'm glad it's not me.
So you're like in a rare position as a cast member, because like you said, you grew up as a challenge fan. You even said that you came to one of the premiere parties.
Yeah. I went to a premiere party and a reunion show.
Yeah.
I went to watch the reunion before.
Yeah, and you brought a friend, and she, to this day, says, I was the one that got away. That's amazing.
I won't say which one it was, but yeah, she definitely, I still remember us going to the party, and she walked up to the bar, and you came right beside her, and she looked at me, she's like slapping my leg. She's like, he's right there. And I was like, say hi to him. And then you turned around, and you're like, you guys want a drink? And it was like her entire day was made. I was like, let me walk away. Let me not cock block. And then nothing ever came out of it. So she's now happily basically married and with a kid. So
missed your shot. Okay, so like you were saying though, as a fan before the show coming in, you now are in this, because I'm not gonna lie, like me too, even as somebody who has been on 24 seasons of the show, and I've been around, and I've competed with almost everyone individually in different scenarios, but to see them all under the same roof, especially Era 1, because that's who I watched before I went on, and to see their interaction and to see how they all kind of like, it's almost like a family with them.
It
like
really
it
was.
really is like a family, but then to also have all of those personalities, like I like to consider myself someone who's like, pretty over the top. I like, and just a little bit. I can, hang with the best of them. But I mean, dude, the energy level on this season in that house was like unmatched. 100%. Like I've never been in a house where there was that much personality, that much energy.
I think that's why like this first episode is so much, because it's not only that they have 40 people, but they have 40 big personalities, people who are providing something. It's not like you have a bunch of boring people on this season. They did a good job. So it's overwhelming because they're having to keep up with every single storyline that's going on. So, but I mean, hey, you're welcome, guys.
Because you guys, I mean, obviously, you guys wasted no time, kind of bringing some drama into the equation. When you guys heard obviously, for me, I mean, a lot of fans like don't understand what kind of like goes on behind the scenes. That whole first week was wild.
Yeah.
Like, we get there, they put us in a hotel. So there's 40 of us in like on these 2 floors. They tried to keep us in our rooms. That didn't last very long.
No. Yeah, at all.
Especially for the 2 of you.
Oh, I literally put my bags down. They're like, Nurys, you have to stay in your own room. I literally walked right past security with all my suitcases. I said, nope. Brought him right back to his room. I was like, absolutely not. You thought.
No shot. So we were in the hotel for, which I actually liked, because it's like, dude, trying to like acclimate to, this new country, this new weather, everything, and then just looking around and everything. I'm like, dude, this is gonna be a tall task.
Yeah.
The intro night that we did for the launch special before the invitational, that was like kind of the first time that we all were in the same spot. This is like when it's like, okay, the game's starting to get going. We had like that cocktail party. I just remember at one point looking over Horacio, and you're just like this.
He's like, get me out of here.
I was like, someone should go and check, make sure Horacio's still breathing. What was that like, man? Because again, like, and listen, man, like obviously we've been on enough shows together to know that it's like, you definitely are more of like an introverted nature, right? But until, like you said, like on a 39, when like, everyone, you're kind of, Fessy's like that. Fessy says this all the time. He's like, if I'm in a group of 8, I literally clam up. I don't say a word. As soon as the numbers dwindle down to 5, he like comes out of his shell. So how overwhelming, Horacio, was it to go from like a 39 where you knew everyone to like this season where it's just like, what the hell is this?
It was a lot. Yeah. I mean, me like this was...
And Nurys is over there like trying to like, I remember she was like over there like trying to rub your arm and was like trying to like console you, and you just looked like you wanted to drown yourself.
Get me out of this house.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I think the crazy part was that everybody that was there was cool.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people that I didn't know, but the people that I did know,
Except for Olivia and Michele.
yeah, except for them, yeah, definitely throw them out there. But everybody else is really cool, and but it was also like you said, it takes you back. Those emotions that you had at that moment, like I wasn't feeling that great mentally, so that kind of added a whole another task for myself. I was there and I was like, what am I doing here? I finished filming 39. I had like a month off and I went to go film that other show that I do for another 4 months. And then I was off for like 3 weeks, and I go
back to
straight
40.
to 40. So I was from locked up to locked up to locked up.
To locked up.
To locked up, yeah. And then, you know, coming into 40 with so many, like you said, big personalities, strong competitors, I also felt that pressure on my shoulders. I'm like, all right, I have to perform because if I want to be the new guy, like I have to beat everybody here. So
I felt the same way. Like if I want to be the old guy, I got to beat everyone here.
Yeah. So it was just a lot. But part of me just was like extra away from everything.
Was there added, because obviously you guys came into this season for the first time as a couple.
Yes.
Was there added pressure? Was there added stress? Was there like a whole added twist? Because I've never done that before. I've always admired people from afar that do that because it's like, dude, that's because again, you're not usually you come in and you just kind of have to look out for yourself. Now you're looking out for somebody else, and you're trying to play your game, but then you're also trying to play their game, and then you're trying to like look around and be like, who's Horacio flirting with?
Oh yeah.
Well, I will say, so the pressure kind of started at the hotel because obviously we were there, like 5-6 days in the hotel. And everyone that drinks, obviously he doesn't drink, everyone was like staying up really late and begging production for alcohol and wine and beer. And everyone's in each other's rooms and me and him are hanging out by ourselves.
I feel attacked.
But it was just like we wanted, like he just said, we didn't have much time like in the outside world before going to 40 to like spend time together. So when they told us we had time in the hotel, we're like, oh, we're going to take advantage of this and just hang out with each other before we get into the house and have no privacy. And every time I walked out of my room, someone was fucking telling me like, oh my God, you and Horacio don't talk to anyone. You guys aren't playing the game. And I'm like, the game already started. We're at the hotel. I'm like, let me breathe. And it was every 2 seconds, every time I walked out, someone had an opinion about me and Horacio being to ourselves. And I was like, why do you guys care so much? If you guys had your person here, you probably would do the same.
Yeah.
And it was hard because I'm like, all right, I could go out. And the thing is, I would leave him and I still would go out and mingle. But because we both weren't out mingling, it was like, oh, you guys are both locking yourselves away. I'm like, Horacio doesn't drink. He doesn't want to be in someone's hotel room with 30 people crowded drinking. And he's like, that's not his
even
thing.
If we were not together, I would still be in my room.
Yeah.
I would not be joining the crowd or anything.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against them. It's just like, that's not me. I'm not going to go in there.
So
take
I mean, if they were
want.
like, oh, let's all go work out, he's going to join.
It's almost like if you guys were there individually, you weren't together, you were in your room, no one would care. But because you guys are together in your room, that's like, oh my God, now they're not being social.
And then like the word around the street, what I kept hearing was, oh yeah, you guys are putting a target on your back because you guys are isolating yourselves. You have to be more, and it's funny, I don't remember exactly who it was, but someone's like, Olivia's doing such a good job. She's talking, I was like, but that's Olivia. Like Olivia wants to be out drinking. She wants to be with you guys. She wants to tell you guys her life story. At this moment right now, like the show has hard.
Olivia works hard. I have never in my life, witnessed, you want to talk about a social battery. Girl,
hers doesn't run out ever.
No. She's got like a fucking nuclear reactor. She's not even a battery. She literally generates her own power.
Exactly.
Like, and what's even crazier is like and she does her best work at night. Like I'm like, okay, I can be social during the day up to a certain time. Then I'm like, dude, I need my sleep. This girl would be up until 3 a.m. every night.
There was times that she would come back to, because we share a room, Erowin's all together, and her bed was across from ours, and we would hear her come in, and I'm like, what time is it? Ask her the next morning. I'm like, what time did you get in? She's like, it was 6:30 in the morning. The sun was already up. And I was like, what were you guys doing? Just drinking and talking. I was like, we went to sleep at like 10 p.m. You guys
and then they'll do it again the next night.
Day.
I'm like, if I do that, okay, you got me. If I stay up till 6 a.m. drinking, first of all, I don't know if there's enough, party favors in the challenge house to keep me to do that. But if I stay up till 6 a.m., I'm out of commission for 6 days.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is that she wakes up, so I like to sleep in. So she would get in bed at 6:30 and already be up and at it at like 9:30. And I'm like,
dude,
wait, are you waking me up now again? And now you're getting up to start your day? I was like, no.
Maybe it's an Alaska thing because, like they have to like maybe it's like, because it's dark for like 24 hours there, like
Yeah.
half the year. Maybe she's just used to operating in the darkness.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
That probably is exactly it.
I think it is. We've called her a snake this entire time, but maybe she's a bat.
That would work. A bat.
Batwoman. All right, so you guys end up on era 4, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
What were your guys' thoughts of like the 4 eras? Obviously, you got the OGs that everybody, that's it's.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to like era 2, I mean, I think what stands out the most, besides us having the greatest competitor of all time, the girls are stacked.
Yeah.
And then you have era 3, which I think, again, very well-rounded team. But then you have era 4, which I think it's like, and this is the way I kind of described it. If you go down, it's almost like you have era 1. You think about it like the solar system, which is like, it's been around for a long time. They're all orbiting in this perfect alignment. They all there's not a lot of drama. There's not a lot of chaos. You get to you guys. You guys are like a brand new fucking constellation or star forming, dude. That's like, it's just like shit's running into each other, smashing into each other. Molten lava's flying everywhere. There's explosions. Did you guys have any concerns that you're like, how are we going to make this thing work? Especially competing against these other teams that I think like they're used to working with each other. We're kind of just still figuring this out.
No, I think you worded it perfectly because that's exactly what it was. And
big astrology guy.
Yeah, you are definitely.
Astronomy.
Just going into it, I'm not a drama guy, but knowing, okay, I have to work now with Olivia. I have to work with Michele.
Yeah.
Like, I know I could put everything aside and do it. But then, once again, we're connected. So it's like I have to look out for her, making sure these girls are not trying to go against her. I didn't know Jenny. Have to like now work my way with Jenny. The whole Casey and Josh thing, like, wait, everybody says they're part of the Vacation Alliance. Can I work with them? Can I trust them? So everything was just like question marks. It was like, okay, I have Nurys and I have Kylan. Talk about doing them. I'm like, I have never seen a human being have more conversations in my entire life.
Kylan really can talk. I don't know how.
Yeah, guess who never wanted to have one conversation with me?
I don't blame him. I'm just kidding.
I said this about Kylan. I'm like, you know what? It's so funny because like we actually Kylan and I met at a celebrity golf tournament a few years back, and then we did Hearts of Reality together. Like I've seen him on the outside, and then we come onto the challenge, and here's the thing, because he's very analytical, dude. Like like he is completely always analyzing every situation, and I feel like every time I come up to him, I could literally just be like, "Oh, Kylan, sun's out today." He's like, what is he trying? What's the angle here?
Yep.
Hey man, it's like 80 degrees and balmy, and we were in Vietnam. It'd be like,
I think he also, though, I will say, I kind of fell victim to this of like, I kept seeing him hang out with like people like Tori and like different people, and as his like closest girlfriend, my instant thought was, are you sure you're now aligning yourself with these girls that you're always hanging out with? And like you hang out with them. I was started to get like upset a little bit. I was like,
wait, jelly.
Yeah. And
you
I was
should have gone around and done superlatives and said who is the biggest flirty alliance maker in the house.
It would have been Kylan.
And you could have went up to him and be like, see? You're top of the list.
And he was teaching people that weren't in our era, like the memorization of all the challenges, like from 1 to 40. And I literally was like, Kylan, why are you teaching these people these things? These are not your friends. These are not your allies. And but he's like, I'm just being nice because he's just like that. And I'm like, stop that.
Yeah,
stop.
but
You're
that's
teaching
what I'm
people
saying.
things you
With me, I feel like every time I walked up to Kylan to like, I'd be like, hey man, can I pull you for a chat? We're on Love Island. It would be like. It'd be like, I'm like, dude, not everything that comes out of my mouth is game related. Actually, very little that comes out of my mouth is game related.
That's his first time playing with you, right?
His what?
Hey, that was his first time playing with you. Maybe that's why.
I get it. But what I'm saying is like, I think you guys are probably witnesses. Anything that comes out of my mouth on the challenge is like, it's like a game of telephone. No matter what I say, it is going to be magnified, misconstrued, misinterpreted, and it's going to be used, can and will be used against me.
Yeah.
So that's why I never talk game, because I could literally say one thing that's game related, and before I know it, it's like it's been convoluted in so many different ways. So that's why I just don't. I don't talk game. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, you never talk game with me. It's like, I don't talk game with anybody. Okay, I talk game when it's necessary.
Yep.
But I thought that was like, my relationship with him was funny. But you obviously touched on the fact that now, after 39, you are now on a team with Michele and Olivia.
Yeah.
Who, They talked about this in the launch special. And they did a whole video with you guys sitting, your two different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
It was like their perspective, and then obviously you, Horacio, and Kylan's perspective. Just for the people who like didn't watch 39, like this guy, can you just give us a recap of what happened? Break down what happened with you and Olivia on season 39. Because and listen, I know you guys might be in a different place now. We don't want this perspective. I want you to take us back to pre-season 40, right after 39, like what happened, how'd it go down, and who were kind of like the other players involved. Because what seemed like to me that was just this thing with you and Olivia, it seemed like there were other players.
There definitely
was Michelle. There was, other people that kind of obviously played into it as well.
Yeah. So. I will say so. Obviously, on 39, Olivia was like my number one. Actually number one over everybody. She was always like, it didn't matter male or female. She was always the person I was going to look out for.
That was your first mistake.
Then, and then obviously I had Jay as well. And because and then Jay's ride or die is Michelle. Me and Michelle had made a friendship on 38. I was like, okay, I got to protect them too. But also I had Horacio and Kylan because I became friends with Kylan outside of the challenge, and me and him became really good friends. So going into it, I told him, I was like, I have your back. And like for me, I only have to tell you one time. You should never have to ask me again. If I told you I have your back, I got your back.
I'm the same way.
Times. Like that's
I hate when people are like, oh, well, we haven't talked in a week.
Yeah. I'm like, what does it matter?
I need to check in with you every day and be like, hey, man, we're still good.
Exactly. So that was like, I was like, if I tell you I got you, and I will never do anything to betray you. And if I'm gonna tell you before I do it. That's just who I am. And so it got to a point where I felt like a pawn. I was being used, and I was being used. Like Jay and Michelle were running things, and a lot of the decisions, like I would have my own decisions.
How would you guys let that happen?
And the thing is, I would have such great decisions, and they would tell me like, yeah, you know what, let's do that. And then all of a sudden, last second, they'd be like, oh, so we're not. And I'm like, okay, look, now I got to kind of follow the trend and do what they were doing, because if not, now I'm going to be the odd man out, and they're going to think that I'm not going with the alliance. Finally, I kept being like, I was like, wait, I'm not anyone's pawn. Like, no one tells me what to do. My family hasn't told me what to do, and God knows how long. Good. I was like, I'm going to listen to myself. So I started making my own moves, and then they're getting pissed because now I'm not listening. I'm not saying when they say jump, I'm not saying how high. And so I think what happened was that once I made, what was it called? The stalemate. That possibly was going to threw in us off to the elimination, which actually didn't throw us off in because CT chose him. They all basically turned on me. Like it was like the worst thing I could have ever done. But I still was going to have Olivia's back. We actually had, Olivia actually came to our side. So it was me, Horacio, Kylan, and Olivia working together. And it came down to now we have to do that weird thing with one person won, and then they have to pick somebody. And Jay ends up, would he win the one that I had to forget who won?
No, that was Emmanuel.
Emmanuel won, and
Ed.
Somebody won, and it was left for me. I was the last person chosen, so I had to pick between Horacio, Kylan, Olivia, or Zara. Who Zara was the newest person that I had gotten really close to. So that decision, I was like, oh no, I was like, not me dictating the future of who the three people that are going into elimination. Made the hard decision for myself because I was like, Olivia's my number one. I picked Olivia, and I essentially made Horacio, Kylan, and Zaza go into elimination. And him and Kylan both told me like, if it comes down to you, pick Olivia. So like, not only did I choose that, Horacio chose that, and Kylan chose that. The three of us chose that for her to make sure that she was safe. Because there was no way that she was going to win.
You chose Olivia to be safe.
To be safe.
So you saved her.
Let
me ask you this. Were you aware, because I wasn't really aware of how tight her and Michelle were up until the deliberation, which I'm going to play some audio for in a little bit. But when she's like in the deliberation, she's like, for this season 40, when she's like, she's my number one. I will do anything I have to protect her. Yeah. I'm like, when did this happen?
Yeah. No,
so were they that tight?
They were close for sure going to 39. I knew that. But I also knew for a fact, and I will still stand by that Olivia and Michelle were not closer than me and Olivia were going into 39. Me and Olivia were 100% closer. We hung out way more, but in her interviews afterwards, we're like, Michelle was the person I was close to. I talked to her every day. I hung out with her. I'm like, no, you actually hung out and talked to me more.
But revisionist history.
And even then, I'm like, I mean, I don't normally compare my friendships to say I like somebody more than the other one, but whatever. So yeah, saved her, made sure that she was good, made sure that I was, keeping my word and keeping her safe because she was my number one. Then things switch up the next day or 2 days later, and now she has the opportunity to save me. And the thing was, what gets me annoyed is that they have the footage. We talked about it on camera in the rooms, where me, her, and Michele had a conversation. Michelle's like, I'm not listening to Jay. I'm going to do my own thing. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm most likely going to save Olivia. So the night before, the morning before deliberation, me and Olivia also talked, and we were like, hey, if Michele decides to go rogue and do her own thing and saves you, what are you going to do? She's like, of course I'm going to pick you, Horacio, or Kylan, because then I know that I keep you guys safe. I was like, perfect. I even told Michele, I was like, listen, I know you're also protecting Mariah. If you want, I will tell Kylan, who will be the last person that we pick. I'll pick Horacio picks Kylan. I will tell Kylan to save Mariah. So now the other people that you're saving is safe too. I don't know. I get there, and as soon as Michele goes rogue and picks Olivia, I'm trying so hard to keep my composure. I was like, oh shit, the game is going to turn upside down right now.
Because she's going to
save me. I thought she was going to save me. I was like, Olivia's about to save me.
Who were her other, so besides you, the other options were what?
Everybody was still on.
It was
the only people saved was Jay, Michele,
Olivia.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So everybody else was still on the line. Mm-hmm. And mind you, Olivia's not
she could have chosen any of these other people.
Yeah. Anybody. And then when she said Mariah, I just remember being so like, what the fuck? Like, how do you save Mariah, who... And they don't really show it, but that whole season, they didn't get along. They were not friends. They talked shit about each other all season. And
Shocker.
I was like, so you're going to save the girl who you literally have been talking shit about every single day over your best friend? Like, fuck that. I get
What was her reasoning behind that?
Because Michelle's her best friend, and Michele asked her, please don't pick Nurys, Kylan, or Horacio, and pick Mariah for me because she's my other number one. Because going into the game, me and Olivia decided we'll be number ones, and Michele and Mariah will be number one. That was the best way to split up our like foursome of a friendship. So we were like, if we each have each other's number ones, we don't ever have to stress. So when she did that, I was just taken aback because I was like, bitch, I just saved you. And I didn't want to save you because I wanted to save Horacio. Because then if it would have been Kylan, Zaza, and Olivia into elimination, Olivia would have gone home 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, even if no matter what way, she would have gone home. There's no way that she would have beat Zara. Like, Zara is a beast as well. So I was just like.
Was Olivia, I mean, I already know the answer to this, but I just want to hear it from you. She was playing the middle. So it seemed like what she was doing is she was trying to appease like both sides.
Yeah, kind of, but she really didn't have to, which is why I think that's why it hurt me so much, because I was like, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
You could have had Jay and Michelle's back because I still was going to save Mariah. So the other person that Michele was worried about was always going to be safe. You can play your own game and not only do what you think is right, but also do what your people want you to do besides you.
Do you think maybe that you were viewed by that alliance as a threat, and it's almost as if it's like they used Olivia in a way to, try and get rid of you?
I definitely think that they did see me as a threat, but like not in a way of like wanting to get rid of me. At least I don't think they did.
Sorry to interrupt. I think at that point, the threats were Kylan and I. They were still trying to aim at us. And so once everything went down, then you turned into the threat. But their whole plot the entire season was get Horacio and Kylan out.
Yeah.
So they were obviously
Smart.
It worked, right? It worked.
Smart. Did it though? Not really.
But look how far the people that wanted to get him out, they didn't even make it through the final. So I mean, it's telling. But yeah, so that's basically everything that happened.
Move then essentially put you against
Kylan and Horacio. Yeah, and I was.
You know what they call that? Some hoe ass shit.
Exactly. And I went
so
into
they put you against your boyfriend.
And my best friend.
Your best friend.
Yeah. I was hurt. I was like, what is... And mind you, not only my best friend and my boyfriend...
That's almost like some Sarah Rice level of betrayal shit. Like what she did to me. Where I was like, yo, Jeff, she did. She put me against my best friend in elimination when she had every opportunity to save me. Yeah. So...
You got her back, right?
Oh, did I? Man, where do you think I got this fancy new outfit from? Thank you, Sarah.
But yeah, so they basically... And the other part about it that actually bothered me was that not only did you throw me against my boyfriend and my best friend, you threw me against the two beast guys that you guys want to get rid of, knowing that in their minds, knowing that I was going to go home. Like, they were like, we're going to do this move, and now Nurys is 100% going to go home. Like, her fate is sealed. She's going against Kylan and Horacio. There's no way.
Do you think this was, like, in a way to, like, get, like, revenge for you not voting the way that the Alliance wanted you to vote previously and stalemating?
You know, Jay will still stand to it still to this day. Like, he came into the room crying afterwards and showed me a list of all the different scenarios. And for him, he wanted Olivia gone. Okay. He didn't trust Olivia. So everything he was trying to do was to make Olivia leave. Like, so Olivia was the last person on the list. And he came in showing me the list, telling me that, I was trying to save you. And I was like, but if you were trying to save me, there were so many other things you could have done. And also giving her an ultimatum right before, telling her, like, you better not pick them, is not having my back. I'm so happy that everything happened the way that it did. It did suck, obviously, having to eliminate both Horacio and Kylan, because those were my people. Those are the people that are keeping me sane, especially after that moment where I was like, oh, now I'm alone. I have no friends. But I'm grateful for it because I feel like they finally got to see a different side of me too that season. Horacio was keeping me cool, calm, and collected. The moment he left, I said, oh, all the gloves are off. You guys are all going to hear my wrath. I was like,
Olivia, goodbye. Mariah, taking out your weird boyfriend. Like it was all over.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was like,
you were just going scorched earth.
Yeah,
you're gonna do this to me. They say hell hath no fury.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nurys scorned.
And then when Jay did it to me again the next time, I said, oh yeah, you guys are gonna feel this, and I'm gonna be the biggest bitch to all of you guys, and you guys are gonna regret ever making that decision. And so yeah, I
love that. Make them pay. So were you concerned then coming into this season, and I guess this takes us full circle, coming into this season, now you're on a team with Olivia and Michele. Were you like, but now it almost seems like the tide's kind of turned because now you're here, you have Horacio and Kylan there.
Yeah.
So how was that whole thing going to be navigated? How are you going to navigate that? Like whose side do you think, the loyalty to them is going to be on?
My loyalty was always, no matter what, was going to be to Kylan and Horacio.
Yeah. I'm saying with them. Do you feel like coming in, they were like, oh shit, we got to make amends because now they have like the numbers and they have the strength on this side?
I will say yes.
They did.
I would say Michele did a really good job of like apologizing after 39, where me and her ended up building a friendship. So I knew going into 40 that I was going to also have Michele's back. But it was going to be like, I'm going to see how Michele acts. Like I have her back, but the moment she does anything, all gloves are off again.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of how I was carrying myself. So waiting. But so it was basically, I was like, oh God, okay, from 39, I have all my people here. Me and Olivia aren't on the best of terms, but I knew in that moment, the moment TJ told us that we were working in our eras and everything, I knew that I had to make amends with her because if I hate you, there's no way that, like, if I really don't like you, I'm sorry, I don't care if we're on a team. I'm going to make sure that you fuck up. But I was like, I don't want to play that. I want to be the bigger person. I wanted to make amends.
Be petty.
I was like, I wanted to make amends.
We're filming TV here. That's what we want. Pettiness is good.
And so, yeah, I mean, me and her talked. I will say she seemed very, like, apologetic. She definitely really wanted to make amends. And I think the one thing that she kept telling me was like, I'm going to make it up to you. I'm going to make it up to you. I'm going to make it up to you, Horacio. So I kind of just wanted to make amends. So that way, if she did do something snaky again, then for a fact, I know who you are and I will never forgive you. And I don't give a shit.
You're going to see me again. That's the beauty about the challenge. It's not like Big Brother. It's not like Survivor. And I think a lot of times they don't factor this in. It's like, what you do to me today, I might lose the battle, but the war is still on.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have the opportunity to come back. So that's why I think it was great. Like you guys being able to now come back and you're like, all right, it's a new season. You don't have all your little mindless minions here to follow you around. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Horacio, how hard was that? Obviously to see Nurys kind of like, be betrayed essentially by, by her best friend. And
you're ride or die.
And then you guys be put in against each other, essentially.
Which is actually, she did not only betray me, betrayed him too, because she was his ride or die and I was her number one.
Yeah.
And threw us in against each other.
Man. You guys were also ride or dies. I forgot.
Like, how do you do that? I'm like, Jay stuck by Michele's side and he made the hardest decision. He didn't even want to save Michele. So
no, yeah, I think it was a double betrayal.
Yeah.
It hurt a lot. I think going into elimination with her, it's funny because it's in the episode, I'm just crying. I'm just like, I'm sorry because I didn't want to put you in this position. I always said, I don't want to drag you down with me. I have the target on my back. I know it. Kylan has a target. It's fine. Like, we'll take all the shots. But I don't want you to come down with us. And it happened, and it was really hard to clock in.
Yeah.
You know? I think it's when you're going against the people that you care about and you want to see them be successful. It's like,
was part of this almost like a what do you call it? Like a Shakespearean tragedy where you're like, I don't want to beat my girl, so I'm gonna in the game. So I'm gonna just like fall on the sword.
Yeah, to a certain degree, yeah. There's certain points where I'm just like, she deserves.
Because you would look like a real dick if you would have sent your girlfriend home. Just
That
saying.
would have been funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I also had right before we went onto the bus to go to elimination.
She played mind games.
No. I wholeheartedly was like, you know what? I'm going to throw this elimination and I'm going to let Kylan and Horacio win because at the end of the day, I want one of them two to win. And they had fought so hard at that point where I was like, I don't even deserve the win at this point. So I was going to throw it to them until. But
there was a lot of people in the house that deserved to win a lot less than you. Let's be real.
And so then I literally,
it out.
I felt like I was going to go home. So I went up to Horacio and I was like, hey, can I tell you something? I whispered in his ear and he's like, yeah, what's up? I was like, I think I'm falling in love with you.
Tells me this right before we go into elimination, Bananas. And I'm like, God dang it.
And he literally didn't react. He was just like quiet. And you just see his whole face like he was already upset and it just changed to like a different type of upset. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't have told him that.
See?
I was like,
I'll tell you what,
sorry.
man. As if this game isn't hard enough. You add love into the mix. Now you're like, what? Now I'm really going to be a dick. She just told me she loves me. All right, well, now I'm sending you home. What did you guys think about, and I'm not sure how familiar you guys are talking about, drama, the situation with Laurel and Cara Maria?
I don't know. I guess I've always, like I said, you got to love a good rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like after a certain extent, I feel like there's like just give it up. I don't know. Like, I'm like, it gets old. Like, no one wants to see the same thing, especially, like, I know a lot of people always, I guess I don't know Cara to the full extent that everyone else knows her because a lot of people, say like, oh, she complains, she plays victim, da-da-da. So I haven't really seen much of that. I've seen her continuously get attacked and have to stick up for herself, but she's not someone like me who's going to go off on you right back. She's just going to take it on the chin. And so, yeah, after a certain point, she is the victim because she's not very like outspoken and going to flip out and tell you how she feels. She's not going to tell you to shut the fuck up. I think if Cara was someone to speak up more and give it right back, people would stop giving her shit all the time because they'd be like, oh shit, she's not the victim because look at her, she's standing up for herself. I think maybe that's what it is. But I also might be a little biased because I really do like Cara a lot. So I
don't like Laurel.
Yeah. And so I think that's why. But I also have been such a Cara fan before I even ever did the challenge. So I've always loved her. I've always liked her and Pauly together. And then now I'm here and I know her personally. So I'm just like, I was like, I'm biased for sure. And, I will say it loud and proud that I'm Team Cara all the way.
All right. The challenge, and we're going to wrap this up here soon because they're probably mad at me. The challenge, for you guys, the outcome couldn't have been any worse, right? Horacio, you win. Nurys.
The biggest loser.
Nurys has apparently never paddled in a miso bowl before. That must have been tough, dude. Like seeing her now.
Did you see how rude she was to me?
Yeah. He was just trying. The guy comes over, tries to help you out of the boat. Like, get away from me.
I can do
and
it
he said it in
myself.
Spanish because, she's like, oh, they're not going to crack this code. If I say this in another language, I don't think there's anybody else that speaks Spanish that's going to be able to figure out what I said.
I will say, I'm the biggest, I am a sore loser. I am that way. And I think what got me so mad is that I was the first one in the water for my entire era. I was the first one with the boat. I was the first one in. So to be the last one out, Theo was still somewhere lost. But to be the last one out, I think I was just so hard on myself because I'm like, how did I get to this point? It's not like my boat was spinning around in circles. Like, it just wasn't moving. And I was just annoyed because I'm like, I just did such a good job. I think I had so much pressure on myself, not just for myself, my friends, my family, Era 4, everyone there, the
Last
fans,
season,
I was just like, fuck, like I really just did this. I shit the bed and I was just so mad at myself. And I feel bad that I took it out on him. Cause from afar, I was far and they're like, keep going. And I'm looking, I'm like, there's no girls here. What am I going to keep going for?
I don't see any pink fucking buoys anymore.
Yeah. So I was like coming back and he's like trying to help me out. And I just like didn't want to hear it. I'm so sorry. I really am. I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to like take it out on him. I was just so mad at myself. And like, I just wanted to be alone.
Do you forgive her?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Right. No, but it was cool. I mean, it was very bittersweet.
And I was trying to
put her in the doghouse at all for that.
No, I don't think so.
She put herself there.
Yeah,
She went to elimination, so.
I was hurt, and like the camera guy was like trying to get my face the whole time, and like as he like came this way, I was like, and then he'd come back this way, and I'm turning around like doing circles, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to the camera. I was super mad, and I feel like I'm never really like that, but I was such a sore loser. I was like, Nurys, how do you lose the first elimination? I mean, how do you lose the first challenge?
Like, tough. Listen, there was a lot, like you said, there was a lot of elements to that, a lot of moving pieces. Who's ever paddled in a round boat before?
Yeah.
But that's what the challenge is.
But you know what? I was glad that mine, after watching the episode, I was like, oh, I may have lost. So at least my boat didn't flip over.
Exactly.
And
You
I
didn't
didn't have to. Yeah.
You didn't sink.
When I watched Devin like going back swimming, I was like, Devin's gonna get a third arm from swimming in this
that
gross
water
pond
was
infested
so
water.
disgusting. There was dead fish floating around in it.
Literally, I was like, he's literally gonna catch a third arm, maybe 2 other eyeballs. Like I was like, At least I was glad I didn't fall in.
So now you guys are obviously in the deliberation. I want to, if we have time, can we play that little audio clip? So you guys are in deliberation. They're trying to figure out who's going in. And was it not kind of like, in a way, sort of like poetic justice now to see kind of Michele and Olivia in this situation now where they're kind of struggling? So Kylan says something that I think was very telling. Can we play
I
that?
loved it.
These sobs are kind of falling on deaf ears because I'm like, that's exactly the position that you put me and Horacio in repeatedly and relatively unapologetically for all of last season. I just don't have much sympathy for your situation.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. It was funny because obviously she says, she was like, but I wish, like she said, essentially she was like, can you do me a favor and not put me in this hard position of having to put my number one person, the person that keeps me sane here? And I was like, where the fuck was that consideration last season when not only did you make her go against me, but Michele. Yeah. And so I was taken aback and I felt bad because obviously she's my friend, but I was like, I'm going to put you in your place. I'm like, you didn't give a shit about me last season and you think I'm going to have to care about you this time around? Absolutely not. And I think what got me more upset is that what they don't show is that right after I lost the challenge, her and Olivia came up to me. Olivia's like, hey, if you need to throw me in. That's fine. Then Michele came up to me and told me, hey, no matter what, I got your back. I'm going to do whatever you want. So when we're sitting there and she's pleading her case for me not to throw Olivia in, I'm like, then why did you even tell me that you were going to give me whatever I wanted if you're still going to plead for this? I was like, if you're going to be a good friend and tell me, hey, I got your back, I'm going to let you pick whoever you want. Stop putting your 2 cents in. Let me make my decision and be a good friend and have my back like you said you were gonna. So I think that's why I was
probably
extra
said
mad.
that. They probably said that not thinking that you would do that.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, I had to make the best decision for myself. I'm like, if at any point, for some reason, this elimination is going to be a physical elimination. And I actually have a very good thing of like manifesting these things. Like when I went into the pole wrestle against Amber, I literally said 2 days prior and the morning of you could ask all the girls, I was like, I'm doing a pole wrestle. And then I got there and it was a pole wrestle. So I kept saying, I know for a fact it's going to be something physical. And if it's something physical, I've watched Casey dominate. Jenny's a friggin' beast. And I was like, I'm not saying Olivia's a beast as well, but I think those two were way more well-rounded. And I was like, why would I pick them? I have to pick Olivia. And then on top of that, obviously, I like to put my producer hat on. I'm like, I'm going to give you guys a good show.
Exactly.
I'm going to give you guys a good show because at the end of the day, you guys don't want to see me against Jenny. You want to see me against Olivia regardless. And so that was me.
I love a good producer hat.
I was like, I got to give you guys what you guys want to see. You guys don't want to see me get dominated by Jenny. You guys want to see me and Olivia and like
settle the
things.
score.
Exactly.
Yes. I could not agree more. I want to see it too. You call her out.
Yeah.
That's fucking some kick-ass shit. Kind of like Theo calls out Paulie. That was amazing.
Oh my God. It was hilarious.
Dude.
And you know, it's crazy because Paulie didn't want to go in. So when Paulie went in there with the fine to go against me, I'm looking at him from a from the other side of the table. I'm looking at him like, stop saying you want to go in. I was like, don't nominate yourself because they're going to give you that. I was like, it should have been Josh. I kept saying it should have been Josh. It was going to be Josh. It was going to be Josh. And then Paulie.
That's very true. CT said it. He's like, you know how they have the CT pro tip? Like,
you never.
Yeah, if they want to volunteer,
don't ever nominate yourself. Because like I said, nobility gets you nowhere on the challenge.
If you watch the challenge, as I have, you know that when you self-nominate, you're going home.
Yep.
That's just the truth. Like when you self-nominate, you are essentially writing yourself.
You don't know
like,
what the hell you don't know what you're about to walk into.
And I think almost every time I've ever watched anybody nominate themselves, they usually shit the bed. Like so. Hey, he shouldn't have done that. It should have been.
Well, if there's one thing that we can all the next episode will give us episode 2 is there's going to be a lot of questions answered and there's going to be a lot of scores settled.
Yeah.
2 of them, big scores on your just on your squad alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see it. But yeah, I mean, we're, and again, going against somebody that you have something to fight for, I think makes it a little more, a little more fight for. So, all right. Well, they left the cliffhanger. We were going to have amazing round of eliminations, episode 2. We got 16 people going in, 8 people going home. It's going to be a bloodbath.
100%.
So I'm excited for the fans to see it. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's around the next corner.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be interesting to say the least.
So all right, well, you two, thanks for coming on. For those of you who don't already follow the two of you, tell us where they can find you, Nurys and Horacio.
Well, you can find me at Nurys K. Mateo. I should be the first one that pops up when you write my first name. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram there.
And it's Nurys, N-U-R-Y-S, not the way I spelled it, N-U-D-I-E-S.
Yeah, exactly. N-U-R-Y-S, not nudies.
Okay, yeah, because the first time you're like, oh, it's Nurys Mateo. I'm like, oh, nudies. Okay, that's interesting. Horacio?
Yeah, I'm just on Instagram at Horacio Gutierrez Jr. That's it.
Hell
follow
yeah.
me. And if you want to see the funnier sides of me and Horacio, follow us on TikTok. I think we like TikTok a lot better. Yes, you do. Don't let him lie to you guys. He loves the social media stuff. So yeah, follow me on TikTok as well. And that's just Nurys KM. I love being on TikTok. I love talking smack on there. I love showing our life, our relationship more on there. And so yeah.
Good. So if you guys need to see more of their relationship, go to TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you all for coming by. My first ever YouTube. The whole thing's going to be on here. So now when I post clips, when you're like, where can I find the full episode? You can find it at Ringer Reality TV on YouTube. The full episode. I wore pants for you today, guys. I can't promise I'm doing the same next time. I cannot promise
They're just going to put a big sensor over it.
I cannot promise you my guests are going to be as good looking as they were this time.
They won't be.
But yeah, thank you guys for stopping by the Death, Taxes, and Bananas podcast.
Thank you.
Where the tea flows like wine and my guests instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm Oprah, and I love you.
Bye, everybody.